when you're programming, you might want to change to pass from a number to a string, or from a boolean to a number, or from a date to a number, but you don't know how to do that. So today in this video, I'll be showing you how to move from one data type to another using some built-in method in JavaScript. So let's quickly jump right into that. And here I'll first create a number, a constant. I'll say const x equal 6, and here I'll say const y equal 6, this way. So those two, x and y, are very different, and to prove you that, I'll log them in my console, and I'll say type of, and here I'll start with this x. I'll say type of x, and I have to close this bracket like that. Then I'll duplicate this line of code, and down here I'll say type of y. So if we check in our console, for the type of x we'll find a number, and for the type of y we'll find a string. So if I refresh, you see here we have number and string. So the fact that this one is between the quotation marks, it makes it a string. But sometimes when you want to do some calculation, so let me say you want to say x plus y, right? Here you'll say x plus y, and in this case you would like to get 12, right? But here, if you do that way, you'll get a 66. So let me prove that to you. When you refresh, you get a 66, right? And that is because all this is considered as, all those two variables are considered as strings instead of numbers. So if you want to change the y, you'd like your y to be 12, right? X plus y to be 12 instead of 66. And for that, there is one approach you may use. You may say here, number. We have this built-in method. You say number, and you'd like to convert your y to a number, right? So that you get that x plus y equal 12, right? So if I give this a try, at this time you see a 12 there, right? That means that string, that y string, has been converted to a number, right? So that you can add 6 plus 6 and we get 12. But previously we had 6 plus 6, but they were not considered as numbers but as strings. The way you can say a plus b equal ab, that's how you get 6 plus 6, but they are considered as strings. That's why you get 66 instead of 12, right? And if you don't want to say number like this, you can change this and say maybe instead of number we have another built-in method, and this is the parseInt. This is the parseInt, like this. So this method, you put here your y. Again, we are going to see that 12, because parseInt also changes a string to a number. So if I give this a try, we see that still the same behavior. If I change this to 10, you'll see there are 16, right? You see the result has been changed to 16. That means that method is still working, right? But there are times when you want to change a string to a number, but that string can't be changed to a number, right? Let's say you have here, you have Mary. You'd like to change it. You'd like to change that string to a number, but that is not a number, right? So right here, if I try to do some calculation, like let me say x plus y or x. Okay, let me do the x plus y. So I'll say parseInt of y. Then I'll say x, x plus y, the way we had it previously. And here, we are trying to say 6 plus Madi, you get. So now that is not a number, right? So we'll have 6 Madi instead of, if we had here 6, we could have had 6 plus 6, that's 12. But Madi is not a number, right? We are trying to change a string to a number, but what we try to change is not really a number. So here we are going to get an So let me try that. You see? And this means not a number. because you can't add a string plus a number and you are considering them both as integers, right? Does that make sense? So here it says NaN. That means not a number. But if you log that to the console, I mean, let me store this. Let me say const z, that will be equal to this calculation, okay? So if I try, and that z is going to be equal to, let me log z, and you see it's going to be equal to NaN, all right? So I refresh, you still see a NaN. But if you check the type of that is a number, right? Let me say index, not index, but I'll try to check type of z, right? And here I'll just do this a minute. I'll say type of z, and you're going to see it's a number. All right, but that sounds strange, right? How can NA, not a number, be a number? And that's because that y is being considered as a number, right? It's being considered as 1 or 2 or 5, but it's not really a number. So when the program is trying to add that to 6, that means x plus y, it's getting some, can I call them errors, all right? That's why we are getting not a number. But if we have here like 10, you'll get 16, right? Because if you change that string of 10 to a number of 10, you get 10 as a number, and you add that to 6, you get 16, right? So I'll give this another try. Oh, I'm logging the type instead of logging the response. So I'll get rid of this. Now we should see 16 in our console. I refresh. Okay, we get 16. And that's how you can basically convert a string to a number using the number method or the parseInt method, right? And there is also a parsefloat, but I'm not going to focus much on that. I'll go to the next method, or to the next conversion, and that will be converting a string, converting a number to a string. Okay? And for this, I'll just, I think I'll keep this same behavior here. And what I'm going to do, or actually, I'll do it very simple, in a very simple way. I'll say x equals that, and let me quickly get rid of this line of code. So we'll have x equals 6, and console log x to prove you that this is a number, right? So if I refresh, you see 6, and if I try to say type of, and I'll try here type of x, you should see number. So I give this a try, a refresh, you see a number. So now to convert this to a string, I'll say x to string, that's the method. So if I refresh right here, you should see string, all right? String. And that's because we have used this JavaScript built-in method, that toString. That means you get this number and you convert it to a string, right? And if we remove this toString, and I log that in the console, you should see number. And that's what we get here. That means our toString method is working, right? So if I say dot toString, and don't forget to put the brackets. So if you refresh that, you should see our number has been converted to a string. And if we say this, I say now const y equal 5. Now, you may think that we'll get 11 at the end, but that's not the case, because now this x is a string, right? You are trying to add a second constant to after a string. In that case, you're going to get a string, right? And instead of getting 11, we are going to get 65 as a string. So we give this a try and see. I refresh. Okay, we get string. That is because we are trying to log in the type of that. But I'm going to say x plus y, the same way we had it, x plus y, but I want to convert this to a string. So I'll say x to string to get 6 as a string, then I add 5 as a number. And we are going to see 65 instead of 11. So if we give this a try and I refresh, you got it right here. We get 65. It's because the first argument is a string, right? Then no matter what you add, even if it's a number, it's going to be considered as a string. You are adding, the way I told you, a plus b equals ab. So we consider our a as that 6 and our b as 5. So the first one is already a string. So you're not going to say a plus b to get 11, but you will say a plus b, like putting a here and b here. That way you get 65, all right? Hope you get it. So the third conversion we are going to try to look at is the way of converting a boolean to a string, right? Or to a number. So I'll say here const boolean, and boolean, there are only two boolean, they are true or false. Okay, that's what we call boolean in every programming language, not only in JavaScript. And here I'll say true. I say my boolean is equal to true. So if I try to console log the type of boolean, console log type of boolean, here you're going to see boolean, right? You see boolean, and that's not this boolean. Let me try to change this to bool so that you don't think that what we are logging in the console, like that constant name, but you are logging the type of true to check if it's a boolean or not. And you see here we still see boolean. So there is a way of converting that boolean to a number, right? Let's say, okay, the true means 1 and the false means 0. So false is equal to 0 and true is equal to 1. And I would like, instead of getting true and false, I would like to get 1 and 0, so that I convert those booleans to their value. Okay, so for that I'm going to use the number method again, the one we used to convert a string to a number, right? So if I try this, we should see 1. So you see, I refresh, we get the 1. So if I change this and I say boolean equals false, we are going to get a 0, because 0 is equal to false and 1 is equal to true, right? So I refresh. Okay, we get a 0 right here, and that means that is working, right? We'll also get another simpler way of converting a string to a number, and that is by adding the plus sign before that number or before that string. So let me say const. Right here, I'm going to say const, and this is going to be number 1 like this, and it's going to be equal to string 5. Okay, so I'll say here const number 2 equals 9. All right, so let me try to log the sum of those numbers in the console, right? I'll say console log number 1 plus number 2 like this. So if I try that way, as you can guess, you're going to get 59 as a string. So I log that in the console. You got it, 59 as a string, and that is because this is a string and this is a number. So adding a string and a number, both are considered as string, hence they are added one after another. So that will get 59. But there is a little trick. If I try here and I say plus, you see, I say plus number 1, that means I'm putting a plus in front of the string, okay? Because this 5 is considered as a string. So when I put a plus sign before that string, it directly changes from string to number, and that is now a number instead of a string. So I don't need to say, I don't need to change that using all those built-in methods like the number or maybe the parse int and so on. I just put the plus sign in front of that number and it's already converted to a number. So if I do that calculation of number 1 plus number 2, we are going to get 14. All right, we'll give this a try. So I refresh. You got it. Okay, this is 14. We are not getting 59, we are getting 14. So if I remove this plus right here, and let me show to you where it is. It's right here. Okay, all right, the plus sign is right here. So if I remove it from there, again we get 59. I remove it, I refresh, we get 59. I add it, I refresh, we got 14, guys. And those are basically the most used conversion methods, the ones I've given to you, from string to number, from number to string, from boolean to string, or from boolean to number, right? So guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.